You guys, I've done it. I gave up Diet Coke. I gotta get comfortable for this video because this has been a long time coming. Like, we're talking 15 years. I don't do drugs, I don't smoke, I am an occasional alcohol drinker, but definitely not as much as my friends. Diet Coke's my only vice. Like, it's fine. Girl, it's a bad vice. Today, I figure I will tell you guys how I did it, why maybe you should do it, although I'm not gonna get preachy on you because 15 years of drinking 1 to 2 to 3 Diet Cokes every single day. I have no room to talk. I'm just gonna tell you guys why I did it, what finally pushed me over the edge. I'm going to briefly tell you guys my history of Diet Coke and how the addiction began. I'm not gonna bore you with all the details because it's not that interesting, but basically when I was growing up, my parents did not allow us to have sodas. It was really the only thing that my parents were legitimately strict on. And so soda became this really special thing that I could have on my birthday and at Christmas. And if I went over to my friends' houses to spend the night, it just became this thing that I always associated with a really good time. The not allowing sodas went on for my entire time living in my parents' house. When I went off to college at 18 years old, that is when my addiction began. At that point, I was not drinking coffee. If you remember the first few years of my YouTube videos, I talked about hating coffee, hating the smell of it. I didn't want anything to do with it. And I didn't start drinking coffee until my early to mid 20s when I was already living in LA. So I went through my entire college years with Diet Coke as my caffeine of choice. And college students have a stereotype of needing lots of caffeine because they stay up late partying and studying, and that was all true for me. Diet Coke was my drink first thing when I woke up in the morning. I know it's terrible, kind of as a coffee substitute, and then I would drink it throughout the day. And there were days, I am so ashamed to say this, but there were days where I didn't put any liquid in my body except for Diet Coke. Wow, it actually hurts me to admit that because that's so bad. It hasn't been like that for a long time. I drink a lot of water now, but this was back in my college days. Yeah, I would go just drinking Diet Coke for entire days on end. I may never go back to sodas. And when I say sodas, I really just mean Diet Coke. That's the only soda I drink. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys why I finally decided that now is the time, no more soda. And that is that if you guys have seen my past few videos, I am trying to get pregnant and dealing with secondary infertility. I did do a cycle vlog, a recent video if you want to watch it, but in that video, I talk about how I am going in for a lot of different blood work, a lot of tests, just kind of trying to figure out why we haven't gotten pregnant yet. All my levels were normal, but there was one thing that I was very high on, and that was inflammation levels within my body. Now, inflammation can be caused by a lot of things, but it can cause a ton of negative things. I mean, we're talking every bad thing you can think of can come from high inflammation levels. And if you're wondering what test I'm talking about, it's the CRP, C-reactive protein, I think it's called, in your blood. It's a blood test. And my CRP was higher than what they would like to see. And everything else was normal. So that means that something is causing high inflammation levels in my body. I asked my dad, who is a doctor, what is something that I can do to help lower my inflammation levels? And there are a lot of things you can do. You can add more exercise, you can eat cleaner, drink more water. There are certain supplements you can take that will help reduce inflammation. But one of the big things that he said is you have to quit your Diet Coke habit. It is just so bad for so many areas inside of your body. It can lead to decreased kidney function. It's all interconnected. So if you're kind of having bad functioning body parts, it can all together lead to high inflammation levels. That's just your body saying something isn't in balance, we're not healthy in here, something needs to change. While I was giving up sodas, I was also incorporating some other things into my diet and into my day. I have incorporated more exercise into my daily routine. I actually invested in a Peloton bike. It hasn't arrived yet. It gets here at the end of August because they have a really long like processing time, pre-order time, but I am so excited, you guys. Another thing that I changed up a little bit is I have been using the Ritual prenatal vitamin. I did a sponsored video a little while ago on that, and they actually reached out to me and said, we want to work with you again, which is awesome. I love it when I get repeat sponsors because it means they're happy and they like working with me, and that always makes me feel good. And I thought that this video in particular was a good fit for this vitamin, because if you're cutting negative things out of your diet and you're consciously trying to work out these negative things, it's a good idea at the same time to start looking at what you're putting in your body and make sure that it's something you want to be putting in your body. So I have been using the prenatal version of the Ritual vitamins for a while, but I decided when they reached back out to me that I wanted to try their regular non-prenatal. I'm obviously not pregnant yet. If I was, I would 100% stick with the prenatal, because when you're pregnant, you have to be on a prenatal. Before you get pregnant, they recommend being on a prenatal, but you can also just take a woman's multivitamin. And I wanted to try it because I heard that their multivitamin has a minty aftertaste. And I just thought, like, how cool is that? I just really wanted to try it. You guys, I have found my favorite woman's multivitamin. I am going to use this every day until I get pregnant. Then I'll switch back to their prenatal, which I also love, but the mintiness of these is key. It is everything in these vitamins. So this is the beautiful Instagrammable gold Ritual vitamins. It has no fillers or colorants. It is vegan. It has 9 high quality nutrients that are difficult to get in your everyday diet, even if you're eating healthy. And one cool thing about Ritual is they are very transparent about where they source their ingredients, and you can find all of that information on their website. Ritual wants to fill in the gaps in your diet, and they have been so kind, and they've offered you 10% off your first 3 months. It is a subscription. It comes straight to your door. So if you use the link below and my code Elle10, you can get 10% off your first 3 months. This is the essential for women. I highly recommend it. The mint is everything. Try it. You are going to love it. Thank you so much, Ritual, for working with me again. I love repeat sponsors. And thank you guys for watching this and supporting my channel and supporting these sponsors as well. So back to my Diet Coke story. I'm gonna read you guys a couple of things that I found online about studies with diet soda. So according to the National Kidney Foundation, one study determined that women who drink several Diet Cokes a day showed a significant decline in kidney function. A University of Miami study found that regularly drinking diet soda can significantly escalate your risk of a heart attack. This is interesting. Regular soda drinkers, non-diet, did not have as strong as a risk. So I feel like a lot of times when you think of soda, you think of the regular stuff being really bad for you, and it is. Regular soda has so much sugar, but diet soda has its own set of bad things. People who drank at least 1 diet soda per day were 3 times as likely to develop stroke. So basically what all of this is saying is diet soda is like poison for your body over time. One occasionally is not going to hurt you. If you are a very occasional soda drinker and you're watching this, like, please don't think that I'm telling you that you're poisoning your body. But if you're someone like me and you drink 1 to 2 to 3 of these every single day for 15 years, I quite possibly might have already caused irreparable damage inside of my body. And that's really, really scary to think about and to just like digest mentally, because you don't think about that when you're drinking it, you know? And this is going to bring me to my second big reason for finally giving it up, and that is bone density. So in a 2006 study, it was concluded that women who drink diet soda have significantly lower bone mineral density than those who don't. Low bone mineral density can set you up for osteoporosis, which is a disease that causes bones to become weak and brittle. Why am I worried about low bone density? Because I have had 2 major bone breaks in my life. One was when I was in 1st grade, and it is very common for younger kids to break bones because they're wild, they're running around. I tripped over a dog. That is literally how I broke my elbow. It was the night before 1st grade. It was awful. But then a few years ago, I broke my back. I have a whole story on that. I have several videos on that. That was awful. It's the worst thing that's ever happened to me in my life. 1 break probably doesn't mean anything. 2 breaks before the age of 30 can mean that your bones aren't as strong as they maybe should be. And I wouldn't have known that. That isn't something that I've ever come across in reading, or at least that hasn't stuck out in my mind. But that's something that was told to me when I broke my back was, oh, you've had 2 major breaks. Maybe you should pay attention to that more. And that was several years ago, and I still didn't give up Diet Coke. So yeah, I think what finally did me in was the first thing, which was fertility. So I've been trying to get pregnant. I have these high inflammation levels, and I was just like, I want to do everything I can to make my body as healthy as I can so that I can have another baby. And I think when you're someone who's trying to get pregnant, you're willing to do anything. This video is getting so long. I was trying to not make it rambly and just get into the details, but it just is. I think that it's such a big part of my life and I feel so proud of myself too for being 2 months soda free, that I just don't know how to shorten the story. But anyway, so the very first day of last cycle, which was the one that I vlogged, so if you guys watched the cycle vlog, the first day of that cycle was the first day that I decided I'm not drinking any more Diet Coke. And it actually was pretty easy for the first few days. And I thought the first few days would be the absolute hardest, but I was at my parents' house when I decided to do this, and none of them drink soda. The only reason they have Diet Coke in the house is always for me, but they have a lot of alternative drinks, which is the trick. You have to have alternative drinks that are gonna be yummy to you on hand that aren't just water, because that's not gonna do it if you're used to a soda. So my parents had lemonade from Chick-fil-A, a gallon of it in the fridge, and they also had sparkling ice, which is a flavored carbonated water, and they also had cans of bubbly, which again is a different type of carbonated flavored water. So I had several non-soda options to choose from, and that made it really easy, especially at the beginning. Okay, so I updated my vitamins, I bought a Peloton, I added more exercise into my life, and I cut out sodas. The first week was really easy. I actually thought that was going to be the hardest, and it was the easiest. I think, like I said, I was just feeling that high of I am doing this for a baby and I'm going to get pregnant. And so that month was pretty easy. And I do think that if you have a reason for stopping, like fertility or maybe bone density or kidneys or whatever it is, I think it's easier because you can say I'm doing this for my body. It's the only house that I have to live in, my body, and I want to treat it well. As far as headaches go, because that is a huge complaint when you're giving up something with caffeine, I just substituted it by having an extra coffee every day, which I know is kind of giving up a vice for another vice, but I thought eventually I could cut back to my usual amount of coffee once I got a little bit more used to it. And that has already happened, so I was able to do that already. So headaches weren't a big issue for me. I actually didn't really have a hard time until I went back to Nashville. That is where all hell broke loose. I made the mistake of not being prepared. I did not have alternative drinks. And then I found out that I hadn't gotten pregnant. So I had the emotional sadness on top of not having alternatives. And you guys, I almost cracked. I had a night where I just felt like Diet Coke's the only friend I have, and I just really want it. But I did not crack under pressure. I don't even know how I got through it, but I did. We happened to have a Gatorade, which isn't really an alternative, but at least it wasn't water, so I drank that, and then, I kind of got through it. And then I had a few more days of this is good, and then my second cycle started, and I started taking Clomid again for the second time, and it was awful. It reacted with my body completely different than the first time. I am vlogging this second cycle vlog that I'm currently in right now, and it's been quite different than the first one that you guys saw. I was knocked on my butt by Clomid. I got all the negative side effects. I don't know if it was compounded by removing things that my body's used to, with the Diet Coke, but I mean, it's been bad. And there were a couple days there where I literally cried. I cried over not having Diet Coke. I'm not kidding. I cried. I missed it so much that I cried about it. I wanted it so badly, but I didn't cheat. Alex was really sweet. He ran out and got me sparkling ice because that was like the only thing that was gonna be an alternative that was gonna work in that moment. And I made it through. I don't know how. I made a decision in my mind that I wasn't gonna have it anymore. Another drink alternative that I really like is called Spindrift, and it is carbonated water with just fruit, like fruit juice or fruit pulp, that gives it its flavor. So it doesn't have anything artificial in it. They're so good. I actually have an order coming in because I'm out of them. I ordered them on Amazon and I cannot wait for them to get here because those are really good. But I've been discovering all these other drinks that exist in the world that aren't Diet Coke. Oh, and I have a trick. Okay, you guys might disagree with this trick. Actually, I haven't had to like use it yet, but I was talking to Alex's mom because she also has successfully given up Diet Coke after being a heavy Diet Coke drinker for a long time. And she has been like my most supportive bestie during this process because she went through it. She knows what it's like. She knows how hard it is. I asked her, like, how do you handle it when you go out to restaurants? Because all of my drink alternatives are bubbly and restaurants don't really have like a regular offering that would be a good alternative. Like, I like iced tea, but that isn't gonna hit the spot if I'm craving a Diet Coke and I'm at a restaurant. And she said, get yourself a Sprite. And you guys might say, well, that's a soda. That's like totally like what, that doesn't even make sense. But it does make sense because if you're a Diet Coke addict, Diet Coke is your pit bull. I'm not gonna get hooked on Sprite. I don't even really like Sprite that much. But would Sprite hit the spot at a restaurant? It would. It would keep me from getting Diet Coke, but it also wouldn't trigger any sort of like, I have to have it because I don't like Sprite that much. That might not make sense to you guys, but when she told me that, I was like, that is genius. So instead of saying I'm soda free for like the rest of my life, I'm just gonna say I'm Diet Coke free, because if I need to have an occasional Sprite when I'm at restaurants, not to have it in the house, I don't even like it enough to have it in the house, but she's right, that would hit the spot in a way that like an iced tea or a juice wouldn't if I was at a restaurant. So just a tip, I don't know if that will be helpful to anyone, but it was definitely helpful to me. Now here are the downsides, or I guess the things that didn't happen that I thought would happen. I did not lose weight. Everyone says when you quit diet soda, you're gonna lose weight. Didn't lose weight. I also didn't stop having the same amount of sugar cravings. So they say that like Diet Coke does this weird thing with your body where you end up craving more sugar and then you won't crave it as much if you give it up. It's been 2 months. I still want the exact same amount of sugar. I'm not a huge sweet tooth person, but my husband is. So we eat dessert almost every single night, and that's his doing. But I don't say that I crave it less than I did before. But I also didn't go into this like with unattainable inspirations of what was going to happen. I didn't think it was going to be all like unicorns and rainbows and everything in my life was going to just be like, you know, fixed and healthy. They also say you might eat less when you stop drinking Diet Coke because it kind of makes you eat more. I think I eat the exact same amount. So, I mean, you know, there definitely were things that I was like, ooh, that would be really good if all those things happened. But ultimately what's happened is I have gone 2 months without drinking a single soda, and I feel really good about myself. I am not having caffeine withdrawals. I have gone back to my regular amount of coffee that I was drinking pre-Diet Coke. So I have cut back on caffeine overall, which is great. I haven't had my CRP levels rechecked yet, so I don't know if it's like affected the inflammation, but I am gonna get that rechecked, I think in 2 months. So we'll see where we're at with that. But mostly I just feel proud of myself. So I just wanted to tell you guys like why I did it, how I did it. Diet Coke has been such a big part of my like everyday for so long that I just feel like I have to like address it. It's like, it's just so big. It's crazy. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you are a Diet Coke addict like I am, maybe it gives you some inspiration, but you're gonna have to do it on your own time, because there were many, many times before this in the last 15 years that people have said like, you know, I quit Diet Coke and it's been the best thing. And until you're mentally in that spot, you're not gonna do it. So maybe save this video in the future. When future you is ready, you can come back to this video and get some inspiration. But yeah, I just wanted to tell you guys about it. So thank you so much, Ritual, for sponsoring this video. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for leaving me sweet comments. And I will see you guys with my next video, which might very well be cycle vlog number 2, or it might be a house decor update because we've gotten a lot of stuff in. It's so exciting. A lot of exciting things to come. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.